Defense as a space continues to be in focus, and this is the one pocket of the market that continues to see a fair amount of trading action given the news flow. So let's talk about this. Amit Anwani, who looks at a lot of the defense stocks at PL Capital Group, is with us. Amit, good morning. Thank you for joining in. You know, even as we were discussing the domestic replenishment pipeline and what will happen with orders, now there is this, there's global conflicts everywhere, including in West Asia. Stock prices have also run up, so we need to, get the valuation perspective in place as well. But let's start with a very fundamental question. While companies may eventually want to cater to exports, do you see any of the current listed players being able to do that? I mean, would there be any one or two companies, if you could share names, maybe Bharat Forge, I don't know, where exports could become a real opportunity, given that everybody is, arming or rearming, and global conflicts are seem to be like they're here to stay.
Right. Thank you and morning to everyone. So just to put things in perspective, if you see the export for FY25 was about 24,000 odd crore. Last year it was 21,000 odd crore. And if you see past 5-year basis, the export has been growing, and government is talking about at least 50,000 crore export by FY29. That's the target to reach. So now if I see the private sector contribution, I would say my understanding and whatever data is available, almost 60 to 65% is export, which is going out for private sector. And this is especially largely pertaining to defense electronics and few platforms which we have seen, which are related to vehicles and related to, I think now we are talking about missiles to the friendly Indian countries, which is going on. So having said that, if you see the kind of global conflicts which has evolved, even Operation Sindoor and now the Israel-Iran, definitely there have been private companies who have been in trade with Israel as well. And after the Operation Sindoor, there's a lot of inquiry traction are checked with the companies, indicate that there's a lot of
Amit, just checking that number that you gave us. Yeah. If I understood you correctly, you're saying out of India's total defense exports, which are somewhere around 23,000 crores, 60 to 65% of those exports are coming from private sector players, right?
That's right.
Within the listed ecosphere, which are the companies that you think over the next 2-3 years can really capitalize on this export opportunity?
Right. So I think if you broadly see, there are a lot of DPSU names as well as private names, but export currently as component, for example, Bharat Electronics have been talking about export, but current numbers are hardly 7-8%. They want to go at least 10% of revenue. And I'm assuming that definitely they'll be targeting a few geographies arising out of the current conflicts where they can export. So that is one. BDL has been talking about increasing export. HAL, I would say, very long term, they're just at 4-5% export, but they're also talking about in engagement with few geographies for export. And there's a lot of list of long private companies, which is not under my coverage, but just to discuss, I think Tata Advanced system is also in talks for few platforms in exports, and then Astra Microwave data patterns. I think many companies are focusing on exports, and I would say all these conflicts at first would definitely benefit defense electronics other than platforms, because platforms takes a lot of time to get approvals also. And I think our core strength, because of the offsets in the past, which all the smaller private companies have done, we have good potential with respect to the defense export in electronic side.
Right. And when you say electronics, Amit, hi, morning. What exactly do you mean? What kind of things?
Right. So we are talking about electronic warfare systems. We're talking about a few radar platforms, which we have been exporting, optics as well. For a few platforms in Israel, few companies are exporting. So I think there's a long list of
And of course, apart from that, there is the artillery and the ammunition, etc., which is more, yeah. You know, the other thing, so for example, if you followed news flow over the last 10, 15 days, companies like the Korean giant defense company, Hanwha, I mean, with everything which is happening, right, you want supply chains close to you. So at times of conflict, you don't want to depend on imports from somewhere else, right? So, you know, Korea aerospace defense, these are all setting up shop in Europe. I mean, in the sense they're setting up manufacturing in Europe to supply to those European countries.
Right.
Do you see that also as a... but of course, we're talking about platforms, etc., which is not the case with India at this point in time.
Right.
Is that going to be a bit of a requirement when you look at this export potential? You know, defense spending will go up substantially, but maybe, you know, countries would like to be supplied from their own homeland and not from far away.
Right. So I think this would be pretty long term. But if you see what is happening in the near term, is that wherever we have good trade relations, whether it is Israel and wherever we have been procuring the long term platforms, I think clear-cut advantage with respect to export emerges. So I think in the near term, whether it is trade with Israel now, and many companies are exporting both sides from Israel. And I think even with respect to Europe, when I think few French companies are already doing offsets with Indian companies. I think in the first leg, this will emerge as an opportunity with respect to, I think, supply chain closure. I think definitely that makes it more reliable, but I think that is very long term. I don't see that.
Okay, Amit, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Amit, I'm so sorry I'm cutting you off just because we're running into market opening very quickly. So the opportunity is there, domestic and export. Problem is stocks have run up. So kharidna kya hai?
Right. So if you see, I think almost there's 40-50% runoff which has happened from Feb. We talked about last time then when there was concern about numbers coming in. For me, I think shipbuilding is expensive, almost 45-50x trade. I think even defense, Bharat Electronics is expensive. I think HAL has still headroom, trading at about 36x my number. And there's still more than 1 lakh crore pipeline. They're already sitting at 1,20,000 crore. So I think there could be some headroom, but definitely valuations are currently concerning across defense electronics, especially the private defense electronics company. Despite this very strong pipeline, which is sitting for next 4 to 5 years, if I talk about.
Yeah.
So definitely, currently valuation-wise, I still feel there's a headroom for HAL to
HAL.
maybe 5,500 plus. Also, we have target price of 5,500.
Okay.
But I think for few companies, I'm concerned right now with valuation.
Yeah, absolutely. Amit, thanks very much. Good speaking with you. As always, appreciated.